Okay, this is Brent from tradeguild.blogspot.com, and it is November 20th, 2006, a couple days before Turkey Day. And get your bear claws out because we are going to start picking on the healthcare sector on the short side. Been a while since we've had some fun with that. So I've got about 24 stocks in the watch list tonight that I'm going to be trying to cover in the course of a couple of videos. I'm going to move along pretty quick. I got to say, I've just been throwing these together tonight. So as far as earnings and all that kind of stuff, you got to do your own homework there. And I'm just going to give a pretty cursory examination of each one. We're not going to go into too much depth, but just ideas so you can check them out yourself and see what you like. And first up, let me just say one other thing. They're going to be a little bit random in the configurations. You're going to have longs here, shorts, and so on and so forth. So first up is ICCC, and this is a fresh pick from the tag board tonight from Sensei Kato. He's had some really good picks lately. This is wireless communications, and it looks like it's breaking down here. So I'm going to show you, this chart looks a little bit back and forth, but we're going to put it in a channel and you can see what happens here in this linear regression channel in red. Over here you can see that it's just completely fallen out of that channel. It's bounced up a little bit and it's headed back down. So the deal is pretty much if you can get in on a short, I would say somewhere in the $33 area, you're looking pretty good. And let's take a look real quick. What else we got here? That 22-day moving average. I think this is what maybe Sensei Kato was talking about, using that as a stop. You could even use that 50-day moving average there in yellow as a stop. And you do have this gap over here on the gap day that created this. So that gap that I just showed you, the bottom of this hammer, will effectively function as resistance too on the close. So you can take a look at that. Let's move along. Okay, here's STC. This is Stewart Info Services, Surety and Title. This one I kind of like because it's got that nice rounding bottom that we see here. And a lot of these picks that I'm going to show you tonight on the long side are rounding bottoms or some sort of bottom. So I like to get in on these kind of early and see if we can catch a nice trend. But this one looks pretty good. It's already moved a bit here, and it's hitting that 200-day moving average in blue. Let me zoom out a little bit for you. There's that 200-day moving average that's coming down. So it looks like maybe that's acting as a little bit of resistance. So possibly we get a pullback to this 22-day moving average in red, which has been acting as support. 1, 2, 3. It looks like about 3 times there. So that's a pretty good place, I think, to take a look at STC. One last look over here. Okay. Nothing to see there. Let's move along. And here's SRT. This is Star Tech Inc. Staffing and outsourcing services. Again, another one of those rounding bottoms here that we see. And you can kind of see that in the volume here as well. That helps you identify those. And we've got that 22-day moving average in red, crossing over the 50 in yellow right down here. And I've drawn in a little trend line there of what I think will probably be a little bit of resistance. So it's moving up to that level. Again, maybe you get a pullback to this 22-day moving average in red, somewhere around, I would say, 1450, 1475 in there. And that might make a pretty decent entry. Here's my stop channel that I've got working. And we've got to stop at 14.50. I can actually widen this out a little bit. Gives us a stop around $14. I think that's probably a little bit better for a longer term trade, because this might pull back off that resistance there and regroup a little bit. So you want to give it a little bit more space, I think. So there's SRT. Let's move along to ARTX. This is Aerotech and industrial electrical equipment. This is very, very fresh, I would say. It's just starting to see that volume come in, and we had a little pullback there off this gap up here above that 50-day moving average. Looks like it's going to pull back to the 22-day moving average in red, which has functioned as resistance in the past. So I think the 22-day will probably track it pretty well. We're still in a downtrend, as you can see. Like I said, it's very, very new, very fresh. That volume is an indication, though, that something may be about to change. This also could just base, or could go sideways. So, be aware of that when you enter a position here. You might want to phase in. One thing that I see happening here is this gap right in this level here at about $1.80, and that should function as support, and it has so far today. So if we get a close below that gap, we could see probably lower prices here. So I kind of like this trade, just buying it at $1.80 there, and having a stop just under $1.80. So you have a pretty, minimal amount of risk there, excluding a gap down in the morning. So let's move along, and here is MG 523 healthcare plans. This is a Media General Group. Excuse me. And like I said, we're going to be picking on healthcare. So here's what's going on. We see, let's see if we can see something here in a trend channel. There we go. Falls out of this linear regression channel over here in the beginning of November. Obviously healthcare is spooked by the Democrats controlling the House and the Senate. Healthcare reforms, I guess, are not going to be too favorable for the healthcare companies. So the party that's been going on here since 2003 looks like it's maybe coming to an end here. And actually, let me go back to that. Look at this. Look at this. Okay, I don't know if you can see this. I'm really zoomed out here, but look at what we see here. This nice steady climb, pretty steady climb here. Look at all this big red volume. Okay, and we're starting to go sideways there. Looks like a top. Looks like distribution is going on up here. So that's why we're going to be taking a look at these healthcare plans and picking on them. Over here, we've got the red 22-day moving average. The yellow is the 50. The blue is the 200. The 22 is crossed under the 50 over here and under the 200. And it looks like maybe this 50-day is going to cross under that 200 pretty soon too. Let me zoom in a little bit closer and we can see what's happened here. This breakdown over here on increasing volume, rally up on lighter volume into resistance at the 200-day moving average also coincides with this gap down over here. So we haven't had a close above that gap down. So that's functioning as resistance, this gap right here. And I'll tell you what day that is real quick. That is the 7th of November, election day, I guess. So there's healthcare plans. That's the industry group, and we'll be seeing more of those. HUM, I did a chart reading on HUM for, I think, Cliff last week, and that's on the video. Sorry, more water here. So what I said last week was HUM was probably going to bounce into that 200-day moving average where it would be a decent short. So there it is, that bounce into the 200-day right there, and it's moving back down off that now. And you can see the rally occurred on diminishing volume over here. So that's a nice thing to, to short into. Again, 22-day moving average crossed below that 50, and they're both headed down towards that 200. So HUM looks like a pretty decent candidate, and there's no dividend yield as far as I can tell there. So that's something you have to watch for in these healthcare stocks. If you short them, you will be responsible to pay that dividend and any other royalties or anything that they may have. I think pretty much they're just dividends for the most part. So keep that in mind. And here's HS Health Spring, and here's another healthcare plan. And basically, let's see if we can get a channel here. Just going sideways there, starting to break down. Here's a wider channel. There's that uptrend you can see, and it's broken down and rallied back up into that uptrend, which is acting as resistance. So HS looks like it's at a pretty decent spot right here, right now to short. That 50-day moving average there around 1990 or so. Looks like a pretty good stop on that one. So we are going to come back with probably 3 more videos. So hang tight and I'll see you in a minute.